Wherever the big news stories happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folari. I dare say it's a very, very happy day. It started to be that way from late yesterday evening when the news, talking about yesterday night, when it came through definitively after a lot of false starts, that indeed we have our boys back. Talking about the Kankara boys. Never mind about little details like actual numbers. Remember, we were told about 330, then 333, then 334. As it is now, we are hearing that 340 boys were actually rescued and are back home out of the 333 boys. I don't know if you can work that out. We actually saved 344 boys. From the 350. But all of that is like looking a gift horse in the mouth. We're very, very, very happy that the boys are back. Kudos to government, kudos to the president, kudos to Governor Masari and all those who are involved. Details are sketchy. We don't exactly know what has been going on, but we do know that we have our boys back. And, well, my friend Cyril is in the house. We're going to be together today. We'll also be touching base with our man in Abuja or Katsina, whichever works out first. There probably is a lot to talk about, but I guess we're all happy, and it's congratulations all around. Perhaps most importantly so to the parents and guardians of all those boys. Because it was it was at one time heartwarming and heartbreaking when you see these boys in their hundreds coming out of the multiple buses, clutching a blanket. They arrived Katsina this morning and have been received by the governor. Even as we speak now, that event probably is still on. Now the question is whether or not Mr. President will indeed be receiving them personally. But first order of business, congratulations to Nigeria for getting our boys back.
No, of course it is. As to the other point you raised, I think one of the reports we've seen this morning suggests that the president did have a meeting with the boys.
Because there's been no case since they arrived and have been received by Governor Masari.
The priority is to have them medically examined.
Okay.
And to see that, they are in the right state of mind. And to see how they can be united with the grieving for the past week when the sad incident took place. So the fact that this is a day of huge relief for Nigerians, for loss of children, for families, for who have spent 6 months working to ensure that so it's a good thing. 354 is quite a huge
Which to the confusion we have. We don't know. We don't have accurate figures.
Yeah, but I think that by this before noon, the government should be able to do proper head count and tell us how many people have come out for now, and to also ascertain whether this is the actual figure that was taken out of the school. So again, it's a day of great joy for everyone. We hope that the boys, they're in the right state of mind, both the boys and psychologically and emotionally. The touch that goes into the Napton bikes, children who to and rifles, seeing these things there before them, and in the company of kidnappers and shouldn't have talked, but now it has happened, and so let's just ensure that in their best state of joy, and see how can get their parents to see them
and then get the counselors to work on it. All of them were youth. All of them are secondary school students. Some of them were limping from a picture that I saw. Perhaps a lot of people have seen that, but no doubt these pictures, videos will become more commonplace as the day goes on. People begin to get copies of the particular video. But when you look at this, I suppose after all said and done, as we said from the very, very beginning, we're very, very grateful that it has pleased God to give us these boys back, really, really. And to the point that you made, I would just stick my neck out and say that all the counselors and all the psychologists and all of those people, they're going to get in on the act. And I'm taking this experience from Chibok, when the Chibok girls returned, all sorts of professionals actually volunteered their services for free. But I suppose as we are jubilating on this, I mean, we'll take it. People are saying, how did it happen? Remember, the reports were very, very confused yesterday. At one point, it was said that they were private negotiators, that we had to thank for this. But when the president spoke, well, he actually thanked the intelligence and the governor, that is intelligence services, and the governor for working so hard and so well with the military. And the president, as you know, you saw the statement yourself, he stopped there. So things didn't get clearer. What we just knew that was they were on the way, and as we sit down now, we know that they have arrived. I wouldn't be surprised if the parents of all of these young men, young boys, were not on the way now to go and just bombard them there. I want to see my boy. I want to see my kid.
No, but again, I would like to continue. So the point that you rightly pointed out, the counseling session, this has to continue to fight at least in the medium to long term. So having an 11-year-old share, the safety and the share, for instance, is not something that you think of in a situation, but they've been exposed to that. And so these things tend to linger longer in them, linger longer. We saw in the case of one of those villages where we have the syndrome. So you don't know, it has been 6 days.
Where captives begin to identify with their captors.
Of course. Yeah. And again, we don't even know, for instance, I mean, people might have gone to negotiate, but it is not even in the way of terrorists to kidnap young boys after they release them. We don't even know. So the counseling and the debriefing has to be individually until they are sure we are putting to them.
Indeed.
But as to the question of whether the starting to assist the process, you see, I don't want to get into. We've had one too many of these.
Yeah.
The fact that the boys are back and safe safe with us.
Let us count our blessings, right? And in fact, we have with us, something of our friend on the show. I'm talking about Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu. He's a former military officer. And indeed, Deputy Head of Security, former Deputy Head of Security at the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa. He's also adjunct professor at George C. Marshall's European Center for Security Studies in Germany. He's now a private security and defense consultant. So Group Captain Garba Shehu, well, Sadiq Garba Shehu, so as to distinguish it properly. Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you all.
Okay, I mean, not that I have a lip reading skill, but I know you said good morning, but I don't know if we can hear it. There seems to be a technical issue.
Good morning to you all.
We don't have sound in the studio, but I don't know if Group Captain can hear me, because we can't hear what he is saying.
I can hear you clearly. I can hear you clearly.
Well, I am told that you can hear me. I can't hear you. Let me try. Well, Captain, Group Captain, we have our boys back. Are you surprised about the confusion in numbers that we've been having? Right now, it seems that we have the improbable situation of having rescued 344 boys out of the 330 that were initially abducted.
Thank you very much. First, let me say it is a happy ending to this abduction saga, and we must congratulate the security and the intelligence agencies, the state government and the federal government, because honest, it was a very dicey situation. One of the points, or one of the learning points that really comes out of all these incidents is what you pointed about. Throughout the saga, and unfortunately we saw this happening during the Dapchi abduction, we saw it during the Chibok abduction, we are seeing it now in the Katsina abduction. An ordinarily simple matter of knowing how many students are in a school, it took us many hours, and until the end in this Katsina, we could not balance our numbers. This is exactly what happened during the Chibok and Dapchi girls. Now, several issues are here, and several agencies or institutions have to be blamed for this. Ordinarily, without even government, whether state or federal government intervention, you would expect a school to have a number, a definite number of their students and staff in every school. It starts from there. So what is this one? We don't have to look for any security agency to say that. We started when I was following I have been following the timeline exactly. The first information that came out is that this is a school where about 800 to 839 students were residing. That is not specific enough. Then we started having a school with over 600 students. Again, that is not specific. Then when the governor was receiving, I've also listened to the Commissioner of Education from Katsina State on the BBC House Service. He too was not specific about the number. Then when the governor was receiving the federal government delegation, he said categorically, we have over 800, but we are looking for 333. Then curiously again, and unfortunately, the presidential spokesman came with the number that there were only 10 that were being held.
That was Garba Shehu, your namesake. Your namesake, Garba Shehu.
Yes, my namesake, yes, with the number of 10. Then finally, we had the 343. So until these children were released, the highest number we had from the governor we are looking for was 333. While the lowest number we had was from my namesake, Garba Shehu, we are looking for 10 people. Between 333 and 10 is a very large number.
Well, indeed.
And then finally we have 343. With 343, so that is, even if we take the number that the governor gave us, it means the implication of this is that we could easily have forgotten 10 students in the bush. Or easily, 10 students could have been killed in the bush and we would not be aware because we are looking for 333. I listened again to the governor, his last interview with BBC House Service this morning. He said they had an assumed number of 330 to 400 or something like that. So in essence, what I am seeing, like I said, any reasonable school, and throughout the curious thing, my own thinking is that the person that can tell us how many students and how many staff, including the guards, you have a responsibility to know how many people you have. I was waiting to hear the principal of GSS Kankara. How many students and staff do you have? I didn't hear from that man. So we have different people giving different numbers. Now, as a security consultant, in all honesty, not only in schools, in any big public building, in any big government office, we must imbibe the idea of knowing in any particular day how many people are reported to work. It could be abduction, it could be shooting in the environment, it could be fire. You need to know how many people are in the building. This is very, very important for the responders, whether they are security responders, whether they are emergency responders. They need to know how many people are we looking for.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if we follow what happened in the number, if one wants to be a bit, dramatic or mischievous, we could even say that up to now we don't know how many boys were inside that bush with the abductors. So this is something. When anything happens like this, it's a time to draw lessons. I don't want us to be having schools that don't know the number of staff and students they have.
Yeah.
Because that's the first problem.
Okay.
We saw it in Dapchi, we saw it in Chibok, and now we're having it here. The least a school authority can do, the least somebody in charge of a public building with high occupancy, when I mean high occupancy, any building that is having more than 100 workers, like for example the Federal Secretariat, you should know the people. It is for that reason why they keep a register.
Okay.
You need to know the workers.
Now, Group Captain,
you need to know the visitors that enter.
Group Captain,
yes.
Group Captain, thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Now, the other thing is that towards the end of yesterday, and when we got definitive information that whatever it was, negotiations, arrangements had been successful and we had the boys, until then there had been conflicting information. At one point when maybe some people who were privy to this information jumped the gun and started, giving us the facts that they had, there was a denial. Denial actually went out that, that's just the usual kind of an internet story. Maybe they jumped too soon. But then, much later on, as if to clear everything up, the president, indeed, as you said, well, before then, we had also heard from Governor Masari, both on CNN and on local TV stations. We'd heard him say that they had the boys back. Now, this whole business about initial statement of the finding, I mean the rescue of the boys, it being denied, and then the president now coming on, and in fact this morning they've even said that it was something of a 78th birthday present for the president. And as you noted earlier in your comments, the president sort of, it seemed to me, credited Governor Masari and his lovely working relationship with the military, who the president was sure, took care to add are very well trained and can do their job, I think he was implying, once the conditions are right.
So on that issue of the initial information that was released in the morning that the children has been abducted, well, we can look at it this way. Just as there are people who are eager to come up with positive news, you also have people who are eager to come out with negative news for various reasons. However, again, one of the lessons that came out of this, and in all honesty, we see this from other countries. There are what I call global practices. When something happens that is good in another country, there is no harm in copying that. Whenever there is active shooting in any US schools, they have a lot of that, unfortunately. That is their own problem. You see the marshal of that district. He is the one who comes after every 30 minutes or after every hour to speak on what is the situation of the rescue going.
Yeah.
The point I am making, when we have such an incident, there should be one person communicating to the whole public about what is happening. Be very honest, not hiding anything. Be very honest. The only thing you can hide may be operational matters that might jeopardize the operation. That's what we see happening.
Okay.
But unfortunately, in this incident, we have the Katsina State government passing their information. We have the presidential spokesman passing his information. We have the military passing the information. We have the police passing the information. I counted all these people passing information. Again, going forward, this is what we should do. There should be somebody, most importantly, somebody who is locally based on the ground. He should be the one informing the general public. Only one person. Anybody that has anything to say, he passes it through that person. That reduces confusion.
Okay.
That keeps people informed, and that gets even sympathy for the people that are carrying out the operation. So honestly, we have so many. Of course, you cannot stop fake news people that go on Facebook and say their own. But from the official angle, there should be one person communicating.
Indeed, Group Captain. And I think going back to presidency spokesman Garba Shehu saying there were no more than 10 boys missing. We've heard in the past in different stories about how there's good intelligence and there's bad intelligence. So only God knows what Garba himself was told, because there's a heck of a distance between 10 and 340 that is now being reported. I don't imagine that Garba Shehu would just open his mouth and begin to speak carelessly. So he must have been given that information, which everybody now knows was bad information. How do you think those kind of things happen? Such an important person that people will be looking to as knowing the score, making a bad mistake like that.
Well, in all honesty, I cannot speak on behalf of Malam Garba Shehu or what he said. However, the point that should come out, like I said in the last question you asked me, is there should be one person. And even that one person should be somebody who is, it is a security matter. So even the language you use, is very important. For example, when people heard that at least, let's say, more than 300 people have been taken, and then you come to say 10, on the initial side, we can say it's a mistake. But the negative consequences is that the parents around that Ankara, there were a group of parents that were in that district. If you have more than 10 families, let's say even 12, and they hear only 10 are with the bandits from a government spokesman, now trepidation will go. It means any number above 10, they are either dead or nobody can account for them. So you see, that will even heighten tension. So honest, even the language. Another thing that came out from miscommunication, in all honesty, I'm talking frankly here, when I heard that fire is being exchanged with the bandits, again, that is not good communication. Why do I say so? If an abductor has your child or has somebody you value with him, I don't think it is cheerful news for you to hear that fire has been exchanged.
Okay.
So even if fire was being exchanged as a sort of an operational necessity, I think that is the kind of language that shouldn't come out to parents who didn't know where they are.
Okay.
You are not going to get any gold medal by telling parents that that fire is being exchanged while they don't even know what is the fate of their children.
Yeah. Okay. As I said, the president has put out a statement. In fact, we can go there now. This state president's statement.
God, that the law enforcement agencies, in this case, especially the military, the army, and the governor, worked extremely hard. And as soon as they got them, the governor rang me and informed me, and I congratulated him and the army that organized the operation and so on. We spoke with the governor. I congratulated him, and I congratulated the army that organized the the operation, encirclement of the people, of the abductors, and getting the children. The military is well trained. I think they are sufficiently motivated. The governor, I'm very impressed with the governor. He has been, up and doing since it happened. And I congratulated him that the children have been successfully recovered. Well, we are doing our best. Remember when we closed the borders? We found out that still, somehow, the terrorists or the abductors still get weapons and ammunition. They still take people hostages. They are collecting millions of naira. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and some of the things we may not say. I don't want to compromise the security and the efforts being put by the law enforcement agencies. But really, we are acutely aware of our responsibilities. Our responsibility is to secure the country. So we have a lot of work to do. Well, armed forces know their job. I meet them. We have security meetings from time to time. They must be very clear of my instructions. Their efforts is not good enough for me. Our responsibility, as I said, is to secure this country for all the citizens to do their businesses without any problem. We haven't achieved that yet, but we will keep on trying. I will continue to be loyal to this country. I have asked for this mandate. I got it. I must not advance any excuse for failing to perform. But the insecurity, I'm extremely worried about it, and I hope next year it will be different.
Okay, President Muhammad Buhari there commenting on the cheering news that we all have now, that indeed the Kankara boys are back. We have them. So kudos to President Buhari and his team, and indeed the army, as he said there. A rare sight to see the president speaking without a script. He was speaking, have you seen it in recent time? There was the president, maybe speaking from the heart? I mean, how would you assess it as Cyril?
Well, like you rightly pointed out, it's been a long while. We had him speak straight up, which is something perhaps his minders would have been avoiding. But it's fine to see him speak up. And I think that there are a number of things we can also take to heart and ponder about. For instance, he had different that in spite of the closing of borders, which perhaps was essentially an economic policy that should have dovetailed into considerable for the nation. People have of smuggling arms, then of Zinara, they said, to fund and to finance their operations. So this is that a lot more Eastern State. We saw that as soon as the Katsina kidnapping took place in Kano State, the governor made sure to target schools.
Yes.
And before now, I think that the Northeast was hit in terms of terrorist activity. But the important thing that have been made into the Northwest should not give us cause for fear. And if what the president has said is anything to go by, it means that the enemy is still very much active and alive, and we can't go to bed just yet.
Okay, we'll go on a break now. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. And Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu is in Abuja for us. We'll be coming to you as soon as we come back from break. Welcome back, and as I said, we have Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, Group Captain retired. He's in our Abuja studio with Cyril Abaku being with us in our Lagos studio here. Group Captain, I suppose the real issue now is, thank God we have the boys back. But how does this not happen again? That should be our concern. The fact that it has happened again after the incident with our girls, I don't know, does that point to how well we learnt our lesson at the time, or maybe we didn't even study the issue at all? But I suppose uppermost on most people's minds will be, wherever it is, how do we have a situation so bandits, that's what the governor insists on calling them. He still says he needs more evidence for him to say it was Boko Haram. But that people can just almost, walk in and walk out with whatever they desire. How do we now get to preventing such, such incidents?
Well, thank you very much. We have to imbibe one culture in this country, and what is that? When a negative event happens, it is bad in itself, but there are always good things that you can draw from that negative event so that it never happens again. And that is, in all honesty, as a nation, as a people, that is what we fail to do. When something happens, there is uproar, everybody, both government and non-governmental agencies shouting about it. But as soon as it died down, we let it to go. When Chibok happened, when Dapchi happened, when the other federal government boys college in Yobe State happened, there was uproar. There was this shout that we cannot leave our children, our most prized assets, unprotected. So much so that even international agencies, I remember the British former Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, he brought an idea of Safe School Initiative, SSI. The government bought into it, but in all honesty, after the media hype moved from that thing, we need to ask ourselves, what did we do with that SSI initiative? Now, this is the issue. Now this has happened again. We need to draw a line that this will be the last. And how do you say build the last? That means put all the recommendations. They are all up there, whether it is in the Safe School Initiative, whether it's in the Safe School Declaration. The good thing that I saw from what happened to Dapchi and Gil, there is this Safe School Declaration, SSD, guidelines, which was discussed at the Federal Executive Council, which in, I think, December 2019, the president signed the Nigeria, but then beyond signing it, we have to make sure that it has to be a government policy. Whether public or private school, there should be minimum set of standards for safety and security for our children. Let's be realistic. Having such things will not completely stop somebody who is determined to attack a school. But what does it do? It puts some level of deterrence, where the people will see, even entering the school, at least I need to put some effort. Now you are having schools without doors, you are having school without windows, you are having school without even one megad. So there's no any deterrence.
Those are the boys arriving this morning in Katsina. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, that's happening in Katsina. Yes. We have that there. It's not even, in all honesty, again, they said there are, according to reports, that there were 2 policemen or guards on the school. Now, it is not as if we will ever have the resources to put like 50 people in any school. But the issue is there should be some trained security, whether armed or unarmed. What those people do is like an alert mechanism. Alert mechanism that is linked to a reaction mechanism. Is it a nearby police station? Is it a nearby military unit? The man on duty should be able to have some time to alert. We can't have 50 people in every school. We really don't have that numbers. It's not going to happen. But the man on the ground should be equipped. Does he have a radio? Does he have a phone? Does he have link with anybody who's on standby? And then the people that are going to receive that alert from, even if it's a single megawatts, do they have the mobility assets, like a very good vehicle with carriage? Do they have personnel enough in the Kankara police station, for example, that can rent support? These are things we have to look into.
To what extent,
I had the president thanking all the... Yes. Yes.
Group C, to what extent do you think we have the capacity and indeed capability to implement some of those ideas that you've just said towards this not happening again, at least not as easily?
Thank you very much. Some of the recommendations that I have read the document, Safe School Declaration Guidelines. Some of the recommendations, the good thing about that document, it identifies different stakeholders and what role they can play, from federal government, state government, local governments, even local communities, school management boards. They all have what to play. Now, the issue is that, like in everything in life, these guidelines will be easier to implement by state governments or by private schools that have money. There's no doubt about it. But even with minimum money, there are some small things that can be done, like lighting school, like putting perimeter fence, like ensuring there is a gate. When we were in secondary school, we used to have what they call a duty master. Duty master will go around in the night to be checking around some unlighted places and everything. It could be it is that duty master that will see some people moving and then he will raise alert. So the point I'm making, yes, the resources may not be there for all schools, or rather they vary from one location or from one school to another. We have schools that charge millions of naira, but even then, what do they have in terms of security and safety? And parents are paying without asking. Of course, public schools, like the Kankara one, like the local education authority schools that some of us attended, they will be hard done to have this equipment. But what I'm saying, at every level, there is a little you could do to meet that minimum standard. And where resources are not available like for public schools, it is the duty of government to provide those resources. While private schools could, on their own, because they are business ventures, they should ensure, and here it is even the parents there that should make sure, if I'm paying a million naira for my child, then you need to tell me if there is a fire, if there is abduction, if there is shooting in the school, what plan do you have? We should take this security. If we believe our children are our prized assets, then we should be, we should take a role in what happens in these schools. And again, please permit me to comment on what Mr. President said. To be honest with you, I congratulate the government and the security agencies for having pulled this one through. This was a breath of fresh air that they really needed, apart from the knocks and knocks and knocks they have been receiving. But again, the president raised some very, very valid issues. I would like to comment on them. He called the contribution of the Nigerian army, the state governments, but one thing that came here, probably it is one of the few times where you see multi-agency collaboration. The Nigerian army ensured that there were boots on the ground. He talked of encirclement. In all honesty, this is one of the factors that led to the success of the bandits accepting negotiation. They realized they had been encircled. They couldn't move. That was done by the army. That is boots on the ground. They also realized that the Nigerian Air Force had a Beechcraft helicopter that was hovering overhead. They couldn't leave the area where they were sheltered under foliage and make a movement. Moving 300 students, whether by car, whether by road, will leave a very big signature that an aircraft can keep. So again, that forced their hands. He also spoke about the collaboration between the state governments. They also played their role. I am also aware that the Nigerian police also provided some specialist units, to go and add to this operation. So honest, it is one of those areas where I can say we had boots on the ground from the army and the police. We have eyes in the sky from the Nigerian Air Force. One area that was a bit weak is having ears within the communities. Okay. Because in all honesty, whenever there's abduction of large numbers, these are local people. Keeping 300 students, the intelligence should have thought that, look, to keep 300 students, these people are going to buy food. They are going to look for water, even if it's pure water. Now, in a place like Ankara, or I think the place where they said they kept them is called Turame. It's a village, Turame. That's where they kept the children. It's a small community. The buying habits of the people is very difficult. For example, to see somebody come and buy 3 cartons of pure water. It's not normal. People come with their 50 naira and take one.
Okay.
So these are the things that intelligence people should have been searching around those areas. Is there anybody buying, using my own personal contacts, somebody told me that somebody came to buy, in one of the local markets, he came to buy half a sack of kuli kuli. To me, that means he has some people he wants to feed. It's not normal for somebody there to go and buy half a sack of kuli kuli. So honest, this is the issue.
So,
when you have this on the ground, from the army and the police,
so what you're saying is that, sorry,
yes.
Group Captain, so what you're saying is that, okay, the local intelligence was lacking, so there's more that can be done in this regard going forward, and indeed, not just for them, but also for government, all those suggestions that you've made towards, preventing a reoccurrence. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you very much, Group Captain, for making the time to be with us this morning. Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, Adjunct Professor George C. Marshall, European Center for Security Studies, now a private security and defense consultant. Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so he said it. There's so much work. Maybe there are also so many different jobs that need to be done. But you see, people need to pay attention to this because these are children, these are our future, and quite frankly, it looks like until something happens to them, nobody worries unduly about them. Of course, you have a thing like this, and then now, and even speaking about that. President Buhari has done well this time. I mean, what? In 6 days, he's spoken, contrary to criticism before that he was nonchalant, he didn't care. Well, I hope the president has made up for that because the presidency handlers, the information handlers, they thought it was a good idea to show the president at his ranch, but they've seen the outburst from that.
Of course, they've seen. And finally, the president said there is a whole lot of work ahead of them. He did also.
Deborah wants to join the conversation.
Good morning, Mr. Good morning, Mr. Sere.
Good morning to you, sir.
All right, sir. Honestly, Mr. We give God the glory. In short, today is a very nice Friday. At least we woke up to see a good news. We thank God for that. But the question now is this: all the schools in Nigeria, there is need for traditional rulers to have a role to play. Where possible, let the school, at least this social responsibility, give a scholarship to the community, at least 2 or 3 people there. Let the community themselves now provide security within the environment to secure the schools. Okay. We saw what happened in Lagos some years back about where people came from, whether it's the river or ocean. But the thing that we are praying that such thing will not happen again. But the question is that we cannot tell police or DSS to man schools. It's not possible. Because how many are there? So this is the responsibility of the PTA, the school authority, and the environment, that is people within the environment, to make sure that any school within that vicinity, they be what? 24/7 security. Reason, if we allow all these things to continue to happen, and many people will not go to school. See, Boko Haram ideology is that they don't want Western education. Now, for doing this fun, they are not discouraging people from going to school. Now, Mr. Wori, you are seated there now, you are passing knowledge to people. If your parents didn't send you to school and your better not to, you will not be there. With that, I will not be talking. So this is an opportunity, because if we follow what these boys are doing now, people will not send their children, even schools in urban areas, because we have to be very careful what is happening now, because Nigeria is our country. One of the beginnings of democracy is education. Found one, standard one, just security and the next. But the question now is this, Mr. Sir. There is no place that we don't have senators, House of Rep members, House Assembly members, councillors, and chairmen of local government. What are their responsibilities? They have education authority in all the local governments now. What are they doing?
Okay.
They monitor these schools, they don't go to all this, because we have to find a lasting solution. Because if we allow this thing to continue, parents will not send their children to school.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mazi, as is being said. Now, the specialists have to move in, because we had some still pictures, of the youths arriving the venue where they were received by Governor Aminu Masari. There you go. Those are the pictures again. They came in multiple buses. It must be very cold up there because you see a lot of them have blankets. I don't know where those blankets came from. Did they abduct them with their blankets? Only the Lord knows. We'll watch how we'll see how all of that goes. Some of them were limping. We're talking about physical injury. We'll get to know this story. Were there motorcycles? Were they ferreted away on motorcycles?
As reports, yes.
As reports seem to indicate, how many motorcycles would have been able to take care of three? How many motorcycles do you need if you're going to be abducting 334 kids? Even if you put 2 on 1 kid, you can just do the math. And all of this happened, and nobody was interrupting those guys. But as I said, the point I wanted to make was, now those specialists, those counselors, because these boys have been traumatized. This was our worry and concern with the girls as well, the Dapchi and the Chibok girls, that girls, our children had been exposed to this traumatic situation. Now all these boys, some of them are looking like 10, 11 years old. Maybe the oldest among them will be somewhere around a teenager, a very young, maybe around 15, 16. We don't know. I hope we'll get all of those details. But the experts need to come in so that boys can be debriefed, so that they can be counseled, and so this doesn't just turn into some boogie on their lives later on. I hear that I have another caller. Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Yori.
Reverend Dominic, good morning.
Yeah, Yori, I'm happy for the families, but I'm so sad to be a Nigerian.
Yeah.
Yori, there's many questions we must ask if this cannot continue. Number one is this. These boys came back with luxurious bus. What were they used to carry it away? Is it luxurious bus? Is it horses? Is it bike? So we can know how to stop it not to happen the fourth time. Number two, Yori, it is a truth that's open to the blind. The governor of Katsina State knew people who carried these boys. They were the bandits. They know their captains. They know their leaders. How would we live in a society this way, where we know people who is causing us pain? Yori, are you not ashamed that CNN is showing this? BBC is showing this? Ezra is showing this, that our own children will be carried away. Look at our children when they're coming back. We're barefooted, with blankets. Can we treat our Potiphars this way? And people say they're happy. I'm not happy. Number three, Yori, how much do we pay? What did it cost us? How many euros do we pay? The Dapchi guests, we pay the euro in France. I've said it before times. How much do we pay? How do northern elites, sell their children and buy them like chickens? How do northern elites expose their children in this way? Can we say this terrible thing so it can stop? These people are rejoicing. What we call the bandits are rejoicing because we are happy. They have taken money. They have given our children. So when they use this money to buy arms and buy food, and they lack money from nothing a month or two, they go to another school and cut 200, 300, and we're happy again to return them back. We should condemn this. This is sad to our image. This is sad to a nation. Number three, take it. When we don't even know the number, someone says 10, someone says 200, someone says 1,000. How can the people in the nation don't even know a number of people in a school? Not the nation as a nation, not a number of a nation. If we don't know a number of a school, how do we plan for Nigeria?
Indeed. Reverend Dominic, thank you very much for calling in. Indeed, as you indicate, there are more questions than answers. Reminds me of the title of a song. But right now, I said, we're not looking at gift horse in the mouth. Reverend Dominic brought up the whole matter of, ransom and all of that. I don't know that very many people are actually concerned with that at the moment, simply because life, the life of our children, this is our tomorrow, that we got them back, and no doubt something went down. What exactly went down? I don't think anybody has clarity on it yet. We're still trying to piece the things together. So, but speaking to the point of the ransom that might have been paid, I don't know. Perhaps Yakub in Dokwemu knows whether, this whole ransom business, whether you agree with it.
Chief Yori, Good morning once again. Good morning,
sir.
Siri.
Good morning to you, sir.
You see, Chiviori, you cannot just ask this question. You cannot put this question to one of the parents, whether the ransom paid or not paid. All what is after is that get my children out of this problem.
Just give him my son
back. You don't want to know how much you pay.
Yeah.
So, Chiviori, Reverend Dominic have already said it all. You see, this thing is not going to stop soon. You know why? Why? Because these bandits or Boko Haram, quote and unquote, they know that wherever they kidnap the children, the ransom will be paid. It is a business for them. When I watched that video, that one of the video they released, one of the children was not saying that the government should withdraw the vigilante, they should withdraw the military, they should withdraw this, withdraw that. All because what one of your guys that just left said, they know that they have already cordoned them to one particular place. They can't move. They cannot move again. And then they know they still need this money. So they need to play that card. That is why they play that card. And then I can assure you, I'm starting to be corrected. The ransom is paid. Because these people will never release these children without not getting anything from that. I would say that, by this money, somebody could have been sacked. One of the person that's supposed to be sacked is, I want to say this, Garbachev. That is number one person. Because you cannot just come out and give us false information. You call yourself a spokesman for Mr. President, and then you are not telling us it's just 10. When you don't got your information right, that is number one person supposed to go. If I happen to be a president, number two person have to go is the principal of that very particular school. You cannot be able to account for how many children you have in your school. That is why the figure is now people conflicting each other. So, Chief Yori, I give kudos to Mr. President once again, because we that we supported it, this is what we need from him.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in. Yeah, the president in particular, and as an individual, has come under heat in recent times. But I imagine the service chiefs are in place, and this has been achieved. So maybe this will be speaking to Mr. President that you see now, you people say I should remove the service chiefs. Have these ones not delivered? Even though the president, even as the president said in there that I'm still not satisfied. In fact, he included himself. We're doing our best, but I'm still not satisfied, even as the military have accomplished this. I guess that's the way with commanders in chief. That's what you signed up for. You're a specialist. You're specially trained. The president brought all those points up. So it's very, very good to see the Nigerian army in this good light, and to hear the president give kudos to the intelligence community, and then the efforts. He specifically spoke about the efforts, the work of Governor Masari and the military, the cooperation between those two guys. As I said, as the days unfold, maybe we'll know some more. But at the moment, we probably are refraining from looking a gift horse in the mouth. We got our kids back, never mind how. Parents are going to be pacified, and the important thing is for the experts, the counselors, to move in so that these boys can begin to get treatment, right, as we close. Exactly. You probably agree with all of that. I disagree with something now. Okay, if you're not going to disagree with anything, I suppose we have to go, because that brings us to the end of the program. And also, maybe I'll just add this quickly in here. I'll be away for a while. The viewers that are watching at home, the other viewers, be away for a while. And Nifemi Ogutoye, he'll be taking over, God willing, from Monday. But COVID-19 is still out there. Please, everybody is at counseling and advising. Take it very, very, very seriously. Mask up. Observe the distances. Do not be hugging and kissing all over the place. And, just have a good time. I'm Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.